Hello and welcome to New Tallinners podcast. My name is Geza and I have here my co-host Eric.
Thank you. And yeah, New Tallinners is where we talk about life in Tallinn and what's happening relevant to the community, the people within it. But maybe I'll let you elaborate on what exactly New Tallinners is about. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, so we're building bridges between the expats and locals.
Mm-hmm.
So me, myself, too, I'm a local here.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no idea what is going on in the little subcultures that are emerging in Tallinn right now and are creating the city from the core. And I want to give a voice to those people and build bridges and connections between them as well.
You know, that's also an expat problem. A lot of expats I know as well tend to kind of be in various bubbles. You know, there's the startup bubble, or there's the, you know, different sub-communities, like maybe Indians hang around with other Indians because it's just easier to kind of communicate, right? And they might love to get to know more Estonians, but it's just, there's a bit of a cultural, conversational barrier, right? And I think hopefully with what we can do here is help us figure out that language that is whatever New Tallinn is going to be.
Yeah, make it comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, I mean, Estonians who move to Tallinn are just as new to Tallinn as foreigners like me who are new to Tallinn, you know? And so, so hopefully this can be a place where these conversations can happen.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Let's do that. Me too.
We're really excited because this episode is going to air just after Independence Day, 24th of February. What does Independence Day mean to you?
Very good question. Since I've never been a patriot and been traveling around a lot, I'm just now finding myself learning about our independence story, how it emerged, how I found connection on doing this. I'm not a patriot, but I'm talking about Tallinn, right? Like what? Like why do you care? But I do care because I came home after traveling for years. You know, I've been around, and I realized I read this story. I don't remember who the article was written from, but it stated out that Tallinn and Estonian independence has come from visionaries. So visionaries, yeah. Well, everybody around us told us, "What are you doing?" Right? And this is my whole life. People are looking at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but this is what I believe in, and this is what I want to do, and I know my why, but I'm just gonna do what I know will move me and that makes more sense, or move the community or the environment I'm in to a better future." So 100%. I would feel good living here, and I kind of got a sense of purpose of why I have been born here. So
that story of that visionaries of Estonia who brought this together, and your own approach of being a little bit of a rebel and doing things your own way, your own way that makes more sense to you and is true to you. And that's what you feel is so not just emblematic of you and other Estonians, but of Estonia itself.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why I'm here. That's why I hung out. I mean, I'm here because my wife's Estonian, but I stayed because I realized that this is in the culture. This is not just her being the way she is, but it is everybody in this culture who owns that attitude and that what's the word I'm looking for? I'm looking for something like it's a quality. You know, it's a quality of.
It's like our
I don't
president
expect
said.
somebody to come and save me. I'm going to do what makes the most sense.
Fuck it, let's do it ourselves.
Exactly.
Was what our president said.
That is
Thomas
it.
Hendrik
That is it.
Fuck
Exactly.
it, let's do it ourselves. So yeah, that's the kind of mentality. So me and Eric, we know each other for almost like 4 years or something like that. He's an expat. He's been living in Estonia for 11.
Oh, wow. I came here 2010, initially Tartu. Saaremaa, Tartu, and then Gibraltar for a while. I was there a couple of years, a bit more, and then back to Estonia, and this time to Tallinn instead of Tartu in 2017. So I've been around for a little while, but Tallinn is home. And, I noticed when coming back to Estonia from Gibraltar, that the cold is less than when I first came to Estonia.
What is less?
The cold.
The cold.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
It is because the first winter I ever experienced when I visited Estonia, it was one of the coldest you guys had in a decade, and I was flying in from Australia.
Oh, shit.
And Australia, just for those who don't know, in the winter here is summer down there. So I'm coming from, shorts and t-shirts weather to why didn't I buy more jackets weather. So.
And the ideal, you came into the airport, just snow, yes! The mentality kicked in right away, no?
I mean, initially I was excited to see snow, but then I didn't realize it came with that much cold. But, I had someone to keep me warm, so that's fine.
Aww. We met it was 4 years ago, and how we met was you searched me out on LinkedIn, and the first thing I remember we told each other was, I sat down, I was like, Eric, I don't like lying.
I remember.
And I mean, that kicked off right there, right?
Yeah, you were one of the weirdest interviews I had. I was hiring people to do sales. I was looking for SDRs. And, Keza was just in the interview just going, you know what, I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to, I don't even know what I'm going to say, but let's just have a chat.
We can maybe we will cut this out, but I just came from working to Estonian media.
You will cut this out.
I was done with bullshit. But yeah, just coming from sales and raw sales, it was, I loved how you came in with a totally new perspective on how to change the sales communication and what kind of people to put into sales, since I only saw one perspective. And it was...
It's not a new thing. It's just, I think, in a lot of the maybe non-English speaking, non-American type cultures, it's not... Sales is thought of as, let's just put someone friendly on it.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily treated as a profession with a particular skill set and a particular methodology. And beyond the methodology, because one of the things I see also as a challenge is a lot of people presume that whether it's marketing or sales, that you just follow a process and results pop out the other end. It's not a manufacturing plan, it's relationship building. And yes, there are systems and tactics and strategies you can use to build a better relationship, but your objective is to build a relationship of trust, and then from there decide if it makes sense for the person who you care about, because you're building a relationship with, to actually make a purchase. And that's at least where I come from with it. And that's what we were trying to do with that sales agency before I got into startup life and becoming a startup founder, and never look back, and bloody difficult compared to just doing an agency and just helping others with sales.
It's amazing what you've done with me over the years. Because the way I was kissing your ass in the beginning, I mean, it was
We're
the customer
gonna cut
service.
that out. Maybe not. We'll see.
When Eric proposed me this new Tallinners idea or something, I was just, okay, what is this? I'm flying first ticket to Sri Lanka right now. I don't care about Tallinn. But now when I'm coming back and I realize I've had you beside me for 4 years and I haven't asked the right questions. Never. Which meant I didn't care, right? Now I found the piece in me that cares so much that I even start sometimes crying, explaining my vision, but...
Well, you've gone through a journey of self-discovery in all that travel, right?
I mean,
and we've kept in touch even after you were working for us. And, it's one of those things that sometimes an idea, you can't get rid of it. It just sits there and doesn't matter what happens. It just you just keep coming back to it. There's something there. And that's New Tallinners with that for me as a concept, as a brand concept, because I love Tallinn as a city. I just think it's got the perfect balance of city infrastructure with just enough people, not too many, not too little. It's the just right sweet spot.
But the self-discovery part as well, I found, everybody talks about you should love yourself. But if I don't know who I am, who am I loving?
That's it.
And that's the same thing happening with Tallinn and me right now. So I want to say I love my country, I love my city, but I don't know what this city is. I have no idea. And of course, bringing this environment as well as for myself, but for the listeners, to get that information, I visited with Independence. So I visited the Vabamu Vabamu exhibit they're having. So you can see big signs on the streets, on the bus stations where they say with 30 years from ENSV to e-Estonia. And you can go there until 23rd of October. And what I loved about it, so you pay $11
euros.
Yes.
We're back in Estonia.
11 euros. And at first I thought it's we went through, there's you get the history part which is the main show actually. I thought it's a part of the new exhibit, but it's actually separate. Where you get the history, all the hard times we had, etc., better understanding on where we're coming from, and then you move into this new age after the e-residency came and after the independence, what started happening, and what I
So that whole evolution of culture.
So. Yeah, I love the contrast of how we came from an agricultural people to being the most digitalized country, right, in the world.
It's like literally going from riding a horse to in a spaceship. No, none of the stuff in between.
Exactly. But we didn't have it all. What I love about it, we didn't have it all figured out in a way that. So the point of the exhibit is to also show what we have ahead of us. So I saw there Aro Velmets, he's an Estonian historian. He had an article recovery there, and where he says before the independence, we were trying to figure out the most successful, fair, and realistic option to freedom. Not independence, but freedom overall, to kind of define it what it is. And we got our independence, but we're still figuring out what is freedom and how to create it in a way that is fair, realistic, and successful for everybody in the community. So we're still figuring that out. And I just love the idea because I think we're getting so much praise over what we've done that we're getting into this, I know phase. And the kind of the development stops.
You can't teach somebody who says they already know.
Exactly. And yeah, we got independence, but did we really get freedom? We did get freedom, but are we now just going to leave it there at, we got freedom, okay, now we're doing all this. So just shaping the focus. And Vabamu gave me a lot of insight on that.
That is something definitely worth checking out. And I'm going to do that because I haven't done it yet, but I'm very curious to see not only I've seen stuff about the history and the evolution of culture in Estonia from, ENSV to e-Estonia. Yeah. But I am curious about what Estonians think or would like to imagine their future life like, in 10 years, 30 years, 50, 100 years, right? I mean, it's 104 years of Estonia now.
Our president. What was the name of our president? Alar Karis.
Yep.
And our president is having this concourse amongst high school students to write a free-form essay on what they want the future of Estonia and Tallinn to look like.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It is interesting. I'm more interested in how I would like to get to read those things.
I know, yeah. If you're a student and you've written an essay about what you would like the future of Tallinn to be like, and you want us to talk about what you've written, please send it in to Karina@newtallinners.com.
Yes, please. I would be so happy to read them. And I've already talked to some students who are supposed to write them. And I'm getting so much interesting feedback on the teachers and how the process of expression is like, that how can we ask our kids, what do you want the future to be like? But then when they submit something, you're turning everything around because it's not according to some writing principles, and you're changing completely the thought of the student.
You mean the thought process or how they came to that?
I met this young artist, and he told me we got this thing going on. We have to write an essay, but then they write one. The president says it's a free form, but then the Estonian teacher comes, right? You need to say this differently. You need to do this, and that's connected with the freedom of speech.
Are they fixing the language just to kind of help them articulate, or is it like that they're changing the message?
They're also changing the message.
Okay.
Because the youngsters are using the language to express new kind of thoughts, right? You can't push it into a format. And the young artist I was talking to he's a very mature for his age. He's he's in 7 bands.
Wow. Okay.
I could even say it's Harmaron Kallaste. He's in a band called Argpart. They're absolutely amazing. Can't wait to go to their concert. Thank you for inviting. And yeah, he has brought up these issues that amongst many youngsters they have. So we're trying to connect youngsters, right, and the future of Tallinn and the older generation and everything. But how can we do that purely if we are articulating along the way?
I mean, Tallinn is really a melting pot. You know, like when I first came to Tallinn, I remember like this was 2008. I first came to just visit. It was around New Year's. And there were not that many foreigners here. Like when you walk down the street, it was mostly Estonian, some Russian, some Finnish, maybe you'd hear now and then. But, you know, there wasn't that many foreigners. I definitely stuck out like a sore thumb. But then, you know, and even when I moved here, 2010, 2011, was still kind of like, you know, but honestly, now there's so many different people. Like I walk down the street, I hear Punjabi or Hindi sometimes, you know. And so it's like, as Tallinn evolves, you know, we have a lot of expats coming in here. But not only that, a lot of the Estonians I meet, before you say where you're from and say, oh, I'm from Tallinn, you know. But now it's more like, oh, I'm from Viljandi, I'm from Saaremaa, I'm from Haapsalu, I'm from Pärnu, I'm from, you know, like Rakvere or some other place. And
people
they've
all
all come
around.
in. Exactly. So that's the thing. I kind of feel like Tallinn is becoming something new, you know, and that's kind of what New Tallinners is about. It's about all these people, the Estonians as much as the expats, who are all figuring out what it is we're doing here. What's this community going to be? What are we co-creating? And let's talk to each other and let's learn from each other and let's make this a community that we're excited to, you know, raise our kids in and, you know, all that good stuff.
Yeah, let's have those conversations and not have that sending out emails to foreigners to come in and then one part of our country says get out, right? It's like, but start conversation
keep
there.
in mind, I even want to talk to those people.
Exactly,
like,
that's the conversation part I mean.
Because
like,
I agree that we need to have a reasonable approach to our borders. You don't just let everyone in. I mean, you don't imagine that if you let all the Australians into Estonia, you know, it's not going to feel like Estonia anymore. It's going to become Australia. Exactly. And I left Australia for a reason. Like, so, I mean, not to say that it's a bad place, but my point is, I like Estonia for what it is, and it's a co-creative process. We all participate in this culture that is evolving. We don't know what it's going to be.
To respect the culture, but also like we are always creating and redefining the culture and understanding
together
that,
as a species. I mean, every culture you know came from some other culture. It's a subculture of something else anyway. I mean, if you look at my ancestry, it's East German tribes went through the Middle East. Where are you from?
I don't think...
Well, let's put it this way. So East German tribes moved through the Middle East, down through to the Indus Valley into northern India, and that's called Punjab today. And that's where my ancestors are from. And I was born in Malaysia, and I'm an Australian citizen, and now I live here in Estonia. I've been all over the place. So, I mean, we Indians are an international organization. We're everywhere, right? but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I mean, you know, I'll give you a second. But see, that's the thing, you know. So at the same time, Tallinn is kind of, this is why we like the idea of New Tallinners, because it's kind of got this New York vibe to it, but it's not New York. It is New Tallinn. And that is, we're giving a new name to the thing that is emerging. We know what Tallinn was. We know what Reval was. And that's also an awesome story we can get into some other time. But what is New Tallinn? What is the next 10 years? And, you know, I think it should be something that honors the origins of Tallinn, honors the history, honors the culture, the language, the you know, the various lore and stories and, you know, legends that I'd love to discover from, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen, but there's like in the old town, right? There's a spire, and on top there's this Vana Tumas, they call him.
Oh yeah.
Right? There's a whole story about this guy. He was like a caretaker of Tallinn, you know, he was like the protector of the town hall square, giving candy to kids, and people loved him so much that they put that up there. I mean, these are cool stories, you know, like we need to honor that, but at the same time also realize that, you know, we can add some richness to it as we co-create this, this whatever this culture of New Tallinn is. And so we're excited. We're excited to have you with us on this journey to figure this out. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from people who are in Tallinn, Estonians, you know, foreigners, everyone. And have these conversations.
And to hear from you and how we're going to make that possible is on our Discord group. Yeah. So that will be available. I hope by when this launches.
We'll put it in the show notes.
In the show notes. Where people can share all around town something interesting they're seeing, something new, something old.
Something borrowed, something blue.
Yeah, I mean... I know I'm wearing white, but nothing's happening. Anything. Because creating a whole, we can't leave out pieces we don't like.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the thing is, we all have different perspectives and different ways of seeing things. And like, I would love to know what the people in this community are going through. You know, there's a very good old saying as a kid I read. I don't know which philosopher said it, but it was something like, he was an astronomer, and as a kid I wanted to be an astronomer, so I was reading this, and he was like, for what purpose do I seek the secrets of the stars when men in my street are still begging, basically? Like, you know, I should look for secrets of the stars too, but there's something happening in my street. There's a homeless guy, and I can do something, and maybe I should. And that's kind of the idea. Like, as a society, you know, like, a place becomes better when we care about each other.
And now, I would like to welcome our guest, Ibrahim, who is a startup founder from Nigeria, living in Tallinn, having advised multiple different businesses from the oil industry to tech. And beyond all that, he is a man of purpose and reason, seemingly very calm, but inside, I know, a spontaneous and wild soul. Come on, Ibrahim.
How you doing, man? Good to see you.
How are you?
Good.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome, Ibrahim.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. How are you feeling today?
Excited. Very, very excited.
Yeah, so who are you?
How did you end up here, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that story? Tell us.
It's a very interesting story. So my wife and I, my brother, it starts with my brother in Nigeria. So I just got married. And my brother sends me an email saying, hey, check these countries out. I know you're trying to do your startup. Maybe it might be something interesting to you. So I got a list of countries and I was like, this looks interesting. And my wife and I started going through. And we saw France, and she was like, no, French, no.
No French.
So sorry, French people.
No offense.
No offense, you know. But she was like, no. And actually, before I saw Estonia, I knew about Estonia for a while. But I was like, I had two friends that lived in Lithuania. And I was like, Mantia and Eugenia live in Lithuania. Maybe we should go there. It was like a joke. And we said, okay, fine. So I sent a message to Eugenia and say, hey, I'm thinking of coming to Lithuania to start my business. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm in Nigeria in a few weeks. So why not wait for me and we can catch up and talk about it? I was like, oh, sure, no problem. So we met, we spoke. She was like, please come. I was like, okay, sure. And I applied to the startup Lithuania program, and we got accepted after like 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, shoot, this is really happening. And that was
getting real.
Yes, that was around June of 2019. And what happened after that was just literally packed our things and moved to Lithuania.
Wow.
And June 2020, we decided to move to Estonia. We got some support from investors. We got into an investment program. An acceleration program.
By the way.
Thank you. So we got into an acceleration program here in Tallinn, and we visited in April last year. And I was like, okay, same thing. Let's do this. And we did, and we're here today.
So nice. And I can imagine the process of first getting the visa, right, to here, and all of that process. How would you say, like, was it comfortable for you, or?
It wasn't very easy. It was the acceptance and all that. It was easy. That was like 3 weeks, and you get a reply. But the immigration process is harder because like a country like Lithuania or the Baltic countries, they don't have embassies or many embassies in Africa, particularly Nigeria, for example. So I had to fly to the UK to the embassy to use the embassy in the UK. So I was in London for like 3 weeks with my wife, and we had fun there. It was okay. From there, we flew to Vilnius, Lithuania, and did all that. But for the process in Estonia, it was a lot easier because we were already in Europe, we were already around, so we just went to the police and border patrol department, and we were able to submit our documents, waited the specified period of time, and we got our residency and moved here.
Yeah, I completely froze because I was just starting to think about the process and getting here, and with the startup too. So you had the startup going at the same time.
Yes.
And which is amazing. You're still doing that. What the startup name?
Our startup is called Dillali, and Dillali is from the Hausa word meaning agent or middleman.
Right.
And Dillali is like an income and expense management tool for small businesses in Africa. The whole idea is to help them move from paper-based processes to digital and increase access to funds that they need to grow. So the most difficult thing for every small business, not just in Africa, but all over the world, is that they have challenges accessing funds. So we want to democratize that process and make it a lot easier for every small business that is doing well to access the necessary funds they need to grow.
So in Tallinn, Estonia, would you say it's like what would be the aspects that would make that process easier compared to, I know you did it in Lithuania, right? And the communities and the differences, and what would you say is the reason, or what are the aspects of that making it easier?
Well, what could we do to make it easier, basically?
Well,
But that too, yeah.
Tallinn or Estonia is already a digital country, you know, so it's really interesting what the country has been able to do. So, for example, the first time I saw or read about Estonia's digital system was in 2016, when the former president was talking about blockchain, and I was like, damn, a president actually knows about blockchain, and he was talking about all the SSL and something level access, and I was like,
I don't think any Australian politicians know what SSL is. I mean, maybe 2 or 3.
Exactly, you know that. I mean, think about it. And I saw a whole president saying that, and I was like, I don't even know what it is. This guy knows his stuff. So that put Estonia on the map, and I started reading up more about the country, what they're doing. We had heard about all the crazy things that the country was doing in terms of just building a digital society. And I think living here, I'm beginning to appreciate it even more, because everything is made easy through these digital systems.
Yeah, I can only imagine, since I hate paperwork. But okay, and you came here. How was it? How is the integration in the community, or how did you feel? Like, you live with your wife, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So integration, it was quite interesting, because when I think the first most important thing for us was that, because we had access to, I mean, we were in a program, or an acceleration program, we met different people, and they were very welcoming in terms of, hey, these are the coolest places to stay. If you need a house, we can help you. So our friend and one of our batch managers in the program, Liz, was like picking up the phone, calling everyone. Okay,
wow, that is really good.
Yeah, so we had even left the city. We had gone back to Vilnius, and she called us on video and said, "Hey, I've got you guys an apartment. Let me show you around." And she walked around and said she loves it and all that. And that's how we rented the apartment. We didn't actually see it. Wow. She just told us, Kalamaya is the coolest place to live,
It
and
is.
that you just have to come to Kalamaya. So yeah, the integration, especially for me, was quite fast because I'm in the startup ecosystem, and there are a lot of people who want to talk, want to interact, want to share experiences. So I was able to do that. And Tallinn is actually a small city, So the most intriguing thing for us was that when we first came, we walked around, I think, Kesklin, and when walking around, we walked past someone. Then 20 minutes later, we saw the same person. Then like 30 minutes later, we saw the same person. I was like, My wife and I looked at each other and said, if this was Abuja, Nigeria, I mean, we're not many in Abuja. We're just about 6 million.
You can't get
So just about 6 million.
Yeah.
you can't get away with much here.
Exactly.
I mean, everything is known.
So in Nigeria, maybe you see someone once, and maybe 3 years later, you see the person. Oh, yeah, I just saw you like 3 years ago. I was like, yeah, I was like in Tallinn every 20 minutes. But integration has been interesting. I think some of the different events, especially in summer, very, very interesting. I enjoy going to Telliskivi, just sitting.
Do you have any specific events that you like or where you go to?
I liked, because we came in around June, July. I liked the international festival, the Brazilian one.
Right.
And we all jumped and were dancing around and everything, and everyone held hands and we formed a train and were just jumping up and down. Then there were a few other events. There was one in Sarema.
Video lights?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Then the coolest thing that happened to me was that the second week that we arrived, we went to Vamsi, an island with a couple of friends. Yes. That was really nice. So it was splendid.
So the interaction with locals has been great. I as I understand, but it's been
interesting.
Sounds like there's a story there.
Yeah, there's a story there. I guess.
No. Well, I mean, the thing is that I'll say for me, I'm in a sort of bubble because I'm in a startup ecosystem. There are a lot of international people. For locals, I've met quite a number of locals here. It has been okay. It hasn't been bad. I've got to, young people, amazing. You meet a lot of young people like yourself, always willing to share, always willing to help, exploring. So it's quite interesting.
But at first, I don't think you believed I was an Estonian, though.
Yes, yes.
For the record, she is Estonian.
Yes, you're Estonian?
He's still surprised.
I can speak a little Russian, but that won't help us here.
Well, I thought you weren't Estonian when we first met.
Yeah. But what made you think that I'm not, compared to the regular Estonian you've met?
Your
let's
braids.
say.
Your
What?
braids.
Oh, the
Your
braids. And maybe the smile, I can guess.
Yes. No, we've gotten the Baltic intro already. I was in Finland in 2018, and
so you weren't too surprised?
No. I wasn't too surprised. So it's like, Estonians are actually very chatty. So yes.
So, okay. I wanted to ask about, the Estonians and locals. I remember when we talked about a little bit that they're a little more reserved. But there is also a community of Nigerians in Estonia. And have you had any experience there, or have you met somebody, or?
Yeah, like I said, Tallinn, at least Tallinn is a small city, so you get to meet people. And the interesting thing was that the first time I started interacting with Nigerians was when I went to Tartu. I went for an event there, and some people just walked up to me and said, "Hi, how are you?" I was like, "Okay." And most people, surprisingly, most Nigerians don't think I'm Nigerian, so they always confuse me for an East African.
Okay.
So they're like, "Where are you from? Are you from Kenya?" I'm like, "No." "Where?" I said, "Nigeria." "You're Nigerian?" Hey! And they start making noise.
And then the wild soul comes out.
Yes. Like, how far? What's up? How you day? And we start speaking in Nigerian slangs and things like that. Like, the number of Nigerians are in university here. There are also people that work in here. So we got to meet some of them, and one of them we had like a lunch or dinner at his house, and there were like 10 of us. That was like a few weeks ago. It was really nice.
Is there a lot of events happening to support like these communities, or do you feel like there could be more? We could do more.
I think there could be more. I know that some people, like some Nigerians and Africans and just international experts have actually tried to do different events, and they do a number of them. I know that there was an Afro-Caribbean event on New Year's Eve. I think it was around what's the name of this place? Just next to us here.
I mean, I will write that down.
What's the name of that place again? This is Seafront here.
Yes, Seafront. Yeah, exactly. We're in North Tallinn right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Noblesse.
Noblessner. Yes, exactly.
There we go.
Exactly. So the funniest thing was that because it was New Year's, I was so tired. My wife and I looked out. We looked at the snow. We looked outside. It's like, it's New Year's. Okay, there's a countdown. We looked at the snow again. We're like,
nah.
We'll watch it from our window. Then our friend, again, rewind, back to Liz, who had helped us get the house. So a few days after New Year, we saw her. How did it go? What happened? And she was like, yeah, we went around, we saw a few fireworks, and we ended up at the Afro-Caribbean event. I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And the thing with me is that I'm not very good on Facebook, so I don't know how to follow things. But my wife always knows everything, so she's like my Google. So I just say, what's happening? She'll tell me. And it worked. So Liz was like, oh, there's this Afro-Caribbean thing that happened. It's like, really? How was it? And she's like, yeah, they just hung out there for a little while. And her definition of a little while was from like 12:30 till like 4 a.m. I was like, oh, you were there for a short while. She was like, yeah. I was like, okay, that's good.
That is so nice. I will write that down because
Estonians do know how to party, by the way.
I mean, I want to let that wild soul out here sometimes, so I need those places.
Definitely.
Okay, that is so cool because I mean, we want to like explore that more and see how to like connect these parts and also integrate the locals in it, right? Because everybody has like different kinds of sides. But one thing I remember that I really loved, I will do that right now because you told me you really didn't want to leave home. But you've stayed here for 2 years. Let's ignore the fact that you got stuck, kind of. Since
well, that's it. That's another story.
What was the story there? Like,
okay, so what happened? There's one interesting date that keeps coming up, 31st of January. So after we got the startup visa and processed everything, I barely spent like 2 days in Lithuania. Then I went back to Nigeria, then came back in January. And my goal was very simple. I was bootstrapping my company. I was a solo founder, and I still had like a remote job. So everything was cool. My goal was just come spend a few weeks here, go back, spend a few weeks there, and continue to shuttle. So I got here on the 31st of January, 2020, with the intention of spending like 8 weeks and going back. So I'd arranged meetings, I'd arranged events that I was going to, attended some of them, chilled out, okay, ready to go back. It was like, I think it was 23rd? No, it was around, I can't remember the exact date, something like 17th March or something. Oh, yeah. My flight was
before the chaos.
Yes. So my flight was like 19th of March. Then on the 17th, the government in my country just shut down the airport. They shut down the borders on the 17th, 2 days before my flight. So the airline sent me a message, well, we can't fly you, so wherever you are, let's talk.
Just hang out.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, what's going on? And that's how, the whole lockdown happened. I just got stuck.
And ever since you haven't been able to go back?
No, not that I haven't been able to go back. I haven't gone back.
And now we're getting to my question.
Yeah.
What is the thing that keeps you're here in Tallinn feeling like you don't want to go back home. Like, what's that?
Well, Tallinn is small and quiet.
You like the peace.
So you
Oh
like
my
the-
God! Can you imagine? Like you're in a city with a population of what?
500,000
500,000.
less.
Let's say 600,000. Let's be nice.
Yeah.
And
I was already rounding up. But
yeah, and you end up going back to a city of 6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, as I speak to you, I'm laughing because my wife went back. She's in Nigeria right now, and she's there for a few days. And she just keeps sending me message. I can't wait to come. I was like, why? Say, Abuja is full. The city is full. There are too many people. There's not enough distance, you know. And you know,
In
like,
Estonia, people keep some distance. Just,
I
you know,
love the joke how they said like Estonians can't wait for the restrictions to be over so we can go back from the 2 meters to 10 meters.
I'll tell you. I mean, and you know now you're squashed with so many people. And you're like everywhere you turn, you see people. She's like, it's too much. It's
Overwhelming.
It's
Yeah.
very overwhelming. So I was like, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll survive. She's like, I doubt it, but you know, we'll see. But Tallinn is nice. Like I said, I'm in a bubble because I'm in the startup ecosystem. I get to meet amazing people like you, and everyone else, and it's just good to how do I describe it? I wrote it yesterday to SWG. I said, I finally found my tribe. You know, everywhere you go, you look for, it's not where you come from or where you are. It's who you are with. And if those people speak the same language with you, that's what matters the most. And we've seen that in Tallinn. We like I said, amazing people. It's a small country. It's not loud or anything. It's cold, but you have, you know, in my own little bubble, some of the warmest people that speak the same language with me.
That is so amazing.
that is beautifully said.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For me, I'm from Estonia and I've never been a patriot. And to hear that somebody else has come into our home and feels at home is absolutely heartwarming to hear. So yeah, thank you so much. Oh, blushing for my city. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So about this bubble, like maybe go more into about that. Who are you working with? How does it work? I'm clueless.
Okay, so first of all, we got into the accelerator Startup Wise Guys. It's one of Europe's leading B2B accelerators. We started initially with their pre-acceleration program. I first met them in February 2020 in Riga during a Tech Chill, an event that happened there just before the lockdown again. And we stayed in touch. I applied for the program. I didn't hear from them for a while. Then finally they got in touch with me and said, okay, hey, do you want to join the pre-acceleration program? I did, had an amazing time there. Mind you, I was a solo founder then. Between the time I ended the first part of the program, we moved from being a solo founder to 3 co-founders.
Wow.
And we launched the MVP of our app and started from there. So it was just very interesting. What surprised me the most was how helpful they were. They really cared about what we were doing, genuinely cared about what we were doing. And with that, I was able to meet several people in the Startup Wise Guys community. First, they have a really nice office space at on top of EBS, the Estonian Business School, which is like 5 floors that we have to climb.
Every day is leg day.
Yes,
It's amazing.
Yes, we're fit, you know.
Exactly. Keep the startup founders fit, right?
Good exercise, especially when you have to go downstairs like 5 or 6 times. That's tough. So that's how I got in. We got into Startup Wise Guys and got into that community where they are also connected with other programs, other events, other startups from the Lift 99s of this world to Latitude 59, Startup Day, Estonian Business Angel Network, and all those different sort of communities in the ecosystem. So we were able to, again, very, very helpful people, both, and it's a community of both Estonians and expats that make up the Startup Wise Guys community, or the Startup Wise Guys bubble, like I like to call it. So, for example, like I told you earlier, Liz helped us with housing. Annie helped us with the whole migration process. Louise, what's her name? Helly. She helped us with some other stuff, what we're looking for. So everyone is always looking for a way of really helping out. So it makes it very easy, very easy. Like the coolest thing that happened to us one night was we were going, I was walking home. We just left like a small gathering or something. And again, Liz, her name keeps coming up, said, hey, do you guys want some fresh bread? We're like, yeah. So like, okay, walk this way. We now walked up to somewhere just close to, no, here in Kalamaya.
Oh, here, okay.
Close to Tuse. I hope I'm getting the name right. Pardon my
Close
Estonian, yes. And there's this small bakery there, like really very, very small bakery that made some really nice bread. And we went with like our 50 cents, €2, and bought it, paid cash there, took the bread. It was hot and fresh. And this was around 1 a.m.
Okay.
And go home and we're eating bread and everything. I thought that was really cool. There's no way I would have known, or we would have known such a place. So if anyone wants bread around 1,
that's the place. What was the name of the place again?
It doesn't have a name.
Doesn't have a name?
It's just one of those places you just have to know.
You just have to know.
Damn.
Yeah. Yep. I can take you, don't worry.
This is the thing. Tallinn has all these subcultures and sub kind of like sections that you kind of have to know a guy or know a girl.
Most of the stuff is like mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
That's good, because coming from Nigeria, you have to know a guy for everything.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, I need to fix my car. I know a guy. I need to register my company. I know a guy. No, I need to fly. I know a guy. So there's always a guy. Yeah. So that's
so what type of guy are you? Like, what's the, when somebody says I know a guy, what do you know?
I'm the Dillali.
You're the
Dillali one in
guy.
the middle. I connect everybody together.
Got it. Got it. Super connector.
Yes.
So you thought you entered the acceleration program, right, in Lithuania, and then you were a solo founder, and then you started building your team as well, right? You mentioned you had 2 co-founders.
Yes.
And then you have, how big is your team right now?
Well, I've stopped counting. We expanded really quickly, particularly in our main market, Nigeria. So we have like all of us, including the co-founders, we have 8 full-time people, and we have another 4 part-time people that work with us.
Okay. Are they also from here, or?
No, they're surprisingly, they're from all over. We're a 100% remote team. So we have people from, let's say, India, Romania, North Macedonia, Nigeria, the UK, where else? Morocco. So we're just all over right now.
And how is it going? Like,
that's a very good question. It's going.
Startup life.
Startup life. Yes, thank you. It's very tough. I think the life cycle of a startup is very interesting. Like every time you feel that you've passed one hurdle, a steeper one comes ahead. So far, like the challenges that we had before was just getting the app running, getting customers, understanding the market. So we've reached a point where we've crossed about, as of today, we're just 40 short of 6,000
well
businesses.
Done. Nice.
Thanks. Using our platform.
Wow.
and our goal is to double or triple that this year, and but that comes with its own challenges.
Of course.
So we're scaling now. We need people, good people that understand the market and can work at a very fast pace, because everything is just changing by the day. So I've spent most of the last 2 months focusing on hiring and onboarding people, and hiring is very hard. It's very, very, very hard. So
What makes it hard?
everything, finding the people. First, the hiring process.
Discovering people.
Discovering people is hard. Like, you need to have, yes, I know a guy.
I know a guy.
Right? But in such situations, you just need to dig deep into the ecosystem to find those people. And as a startup, you need to hire people that have some level of experience, or very good experience, but you don't have the money to pay them. So you now have to sit down and convince them to say, okay, this is why you need to be with us. Meanwhile, like, there was someone that we tried getting, and if we had gotten her, it would have been great. But she had like 4 job offers on the table. So she was like, yeah, I'll consider it. I really like you guys, but...
So it's tough to find people who actually value the mission and come along with the mission.
Yes, it's very, very tough, because we're in a different... COVID has changed everything. So, for example, we've been looking for like developers, engineers to join our team. Like right now, we're looking for 1, not even 2, and it's so hard because, first of all, salaries have gone through the roof. So what we could have paid for before is now 4 times the cost, because a lot of companies, especially large corporates that never had online presence, are now rushing to build.
They've had no choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now there's a sudden rush or demand for talent that it's very, very difficult. So it's like a consumer's market, so to speak, or it's a talent, it's a buyer's market, so to speak.
Well, I'm curious then, in case we have developers in the audience listening, why would a developer in general work for a startup, or you guys specifically, compared to one of those corporates paying top dollar and with ping pong tables and maybe free lunches?
That's a very good question. I think the reason why they should work with us is that we're on a mission to change the way business is done for 100 million people.
Changing the way business is done for 100 million people. That is a big mission.
Yes. And that's just the start. We've almost reached 6,000. We still have like 99,999,000 or something like that left. But that's our mission. Really, it's about our mission. And second, working in a startup, the biggest thing for me is that you have a voice and a seat at the table. One of the most important things for me growing up, like I read one very interesting book that my brother gave me, which was passed down from my dad's friend, my cousin. Long story. So since then, when I read that book, I always believed that it's best to work in a small company. So for me, I believe that the distance in terms of hierarchy, between myself and, let's say, the decision maker in a company should not be more than 2 people. So I've worked for big organizations, right? But it's better to work for small organizations because you're fast, you're agile, you make decisions very quickly. And
just in a day, you learn more as an employee in a small organization. I mean, I've seen the corporate world as well, so I can relate to that. And when you're in a small company, you don't have sub-tribes.
Yeah.
You're all on the mission together. You're all one team. It kind of feels like that compared to when you have more than maybe 100, 200 people. 100 people still is fine. When you get to like 300, 400, 500, that's like people become subgroups, and then there's the politics and all of that stuff. So
the politics sucks.
Yes.
And I always believe that we should run companies that the CEO or whoever is at the helm of affairs should know everyone. And this is why I think for me, the most important thing is that anyone who's working with us has a voice. And will be involved in that decision-making process, in driving things. And those are the kind of people we're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, so one of the issues in the corporate worlds that those talented people feel is not being able to fail.
Yeah.
Right, and not being truthful.
Mistakes are expensive.
Yeah, and they're expensive. And sitting on the table and just saying your truth and not being judged by it on the other side of the table, who is the decision maker, for example. And do you feel that in your company and the companies around the accelerator, for example, in the startup wise guys, that everybody can kind of say the truth without feeling like, we're judged?
I think one of the biggest things that you learn as a startup is that failure is part of the process.
Oh yeah.
So for example, when we're onboarding our new staff, right? One of the key points that we make to everyone is that failure is accepted where we are. But the most important thing, when it actually becomes failure, is when you give up, right? You fail fast. It's just fail fast and move on. So for example, when we started out, we started again 31st of January, back to that date. 31st of January last year, we launched our beta version. We started with 36 businesses. During that process, we tried everything. We're trying to market, we tried advertising, we tried this, we tried that. Dude, we failed at every freaking thing to the point where we're like, okay, I now
Why are we doing this?
Exactly. So I now sent an email to the resident growth hacker, Patrick, and said, look, Pat, I've tried this. It's not working. I don't know what to do. And Pat's reply, just a one-liner, 2 words, keep trying.
There you go.
That was it. Then
Bloody hard to do in practice.
Yes, really, really hard. And we kept trying. Dude, it did not work. So I was like, okay.
Then you have to get trying smarter.
Yes.
There you go.
Smarter. So I was mentoring some startup in Nigeria, coincidentally. And I was like, okay, like how are things going and everything? And he was like, yeah, I've been trying advertising. And when we did it, we were able to get like 18,000 people in like 1 week. I was like, shut up. Really?
Why am I mentoring you?
Yeah, I said, you should be mentoring me. He's like, well, he doesn't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. I was like, hold on, hang on.
I mean, it's like me in the interview, right?
Exactly. Don't tell them this. Don't tell that startup I said this in Nigeria, okay? So I was like, oh, so tell me about your process. So he tells me, oh, there's this agency that he worked with, blah, blah, blah. I was like, really? I was like, yeah. Can you hook me up? He's like, I know a guy.
I know a guy.
And that's what happened. So really, failure is part of the process. And the difference between working in a large corporate and a startup is that you're more or less guaranteed that no matter whether you just come, as long as you show up to work every day, the business is going to, it's already established. It's just going to be fine. You always get your paycheck. Startups usually have lifespans of cash flow of probably 6 months, 12 months. They don't know what's going to happen after that, but a miracle usually happens or not. So I think that's the most difficult thing for many people who want to join startups.
Especially employees who want that stability, they have kids, mortgages.
Exactly. So it's not for everyone. But, you know, there's this rush that you get, you know, a certain adrenaline burst that I'm actually creating something that matters. You know, there are people using it. Like, the best part for us is when someone sends us a message saying, hey guys, this is not working for me. I would really like to use it this way. We're like, wow, that's amazing.
That's where you can go on from.
That's the best customer you can get.
Exactly. So for us, that's the kick, and that is what we try to sell to people and getting on cool podcasts or events like this, so future employees can see us and say, oh wow, that guy is cool, you know.
There you go.
And
so if you are a developer, what skill set are you looking for exactly?
Right now we're looking for a front-end developer.
There you go.
Yes, and most likely a full stack developer after.
Ooh. Did you
Dillali, you heard it here.
Dillali. Yes, I've seen their office. It's pretty good, nice.
Yeah, office is cool.
Okay, you talked about the main mission with the Dillali and where you're going like in the years or two, but in the next like a month, 90 days, what are you doing?
Aside from hiring developers.
Yeah. Well, hiring is soon going to end, but the next 90 days, our goal, we had already set a goal for the quarter. For Q1, which is ending in March, we were targeting to reach 10K users on our platform. And we were also planning to release certain features on the app to make it even more usable and with more features that could work for the various businesses that are using it. So our big goal for, let's say, the next 90 days is to improve and understand our marketing funnels to see which channels are working, how our funnel is working, connecting with different partners. So we've signed 2 partnerships. Our goal is to do for the first quarter or 3. So we're close to reaching our goal. So in 90 days, we should be at 6 partnerships and probably close to 15K users on our platform. That's our big goal.
But on the marketing, your audience is who is your audience? You're targeting.
Great question. Our audience, we are targeting mostly small businesses. Most business owners are probably owner managed. One person with 5-10 employees doing something like 100-200K in revenue a year in West Africa. That's our immediate audience, and we see even on our platform where these businesses are coming from or which industries. We see that they're from agriculture, they're from fashion, they're freelancers, they're technology resellers of like products and electronics and accessories. So those are some of the sectors that we've seen adopt and use our app, and they're using it in different ways.
Yeah, I also registered on the webpage, and I definitely saw that last year when I was doing sales on a contract. I could have used it, and it would have made my life so much more easier with the administrative task and the invoice sending and keeping all track on that. So yeah, I definitely recommend, if your expenses are a mess like mine and all the managing around it and all the bureaucracy that we're trying to ease, then Dillali, yes. Thank you.
Wow, she's one of the almost 6,000. I was already going to sell Dillali to you, but since you're already there,
yes, there's a free period or something.
Yeah, we have the free tier. It's free to use. Then we have the paid version. So our vision is like when we started Dillali, like the coolest thing was that we were building a product for ourselves. So one of the things I don't like doing is paying for stuff.
That's what I was about to say.
So you're building it for yourself.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I want to build something. And the other thing is that as a young person or a younger me, I looked at it and said, okay, what's the most difficult thing? I mean, what will I do differently, the younger me? And I realized that I was always going to try different things, right? So why will I pay for a software when I know that my business may change in 2 years?
Yeah.
But you reach a stage where you finally find what you are meant to do.
Your niche.
And once you do that, you continue with us and you continue to grow with us. So our goal is, okay, you, for example, you're doing this. Tomorrow you may be doing something, but you'll still be using the product one way or the other. And you reach a point where, look, the money will just start flying in. And you're like, these guys, I've been with them. I'm going to pay them and use and continue to use their product. So that's what we're gunning for. We're here for the long
value
term.
up front, help you out, get you off the ground. When you're doing well, yeah, sure, there's probably more you need.
So we're here for the long term, and like I said, I'm learning a lot here. And we also, one of the things that we're doing is trying to educate people on just the basics of managing their finances as freelancers or as businesses. If we can impart that knowledge of teaching them that discipline, it makes it easier. Totally.
I think we should meet again.
Yeah.
But out of this context, because I think I need some advice.
Sure.
Right now, I'm ready to send out invoices.
Use Dillali.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and everything. I mean, thank you. It's actually all I want to say, because for coming up here and maybe enlightening a lot of other expats and locals in Tallinn on how
Your experiences.
And
Yeah.
how the one tiny fracture is making it a whole, and bringing that voice here. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Thank
you. It's
you.
been fun. I hope we can do this again soon. And everyone watching, Dillali, you can use it anywhere in the world. So
How can people find you online,
Yeah.
by the way?
Dillali.com.
Okay.
That's DILLAI.com. And you can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you, Ibrahim.
Thank you very much.